I asked Rob, I said, is there anything that you would like to say to the crowd? And to be honest with you, what he had to say really surprised me. I was expecting a typical, and the Fed, all the rhetoric that we said, and he said, how about we have a moment of silence for Brad Peterson? Yeah, kind of took me by surprise a little bit, because I didn't expect to hear that. And if you don't know who Brad Peterson is, Brad Peterson was a libertarian at Temple University, young kid, awesome, he's an amazing activist, and recently he's no longer with us. Okay? He passed away recently. And, this was It's good, we'll just pause this heartfelt moment. Keep the momentum where it's going. I didn't know Brad very well. However, 2 years ago I told a story about my daughter and some bedtime story that I told her to go to sleep, and it was a metaphor about the Federal Reserve, and the next day she woke up and she said, that story you told me last night was about the Fed, wasn't it? I told that story 2 years ago to a few people, and that was it. To me, the story just disappeared. And all of a sudden, Brad, a couple weeks ago, came up to me and said, can you tell me the story you told your daughter before she went to sleep about the Federal Reserve, about the spiders and the squirrels? And I was just like, for like 2 minutes I felt like a rock star. I was like, this is awesome. So, and then I found out 2 days later the kid passed away. I was just with him yesterday, one of those types of feelings. So,
tell the story.
Tell the story. You guys really want to hear the story?
Yeah.
Okay, I hope you guys are listening to it. All right, long story short, my daughter was trying to go to sleep, and I made up a story at the end of the night. And the story was about a bunch of squirrels that were, just doing whatever squirrels do, living in the woods, having a great time, eating acorns. Well, a bunch of spiders came up to them, and they said, guys, these acorns are just everywhere. They're not safe. Why don't you give them all to us, and we'll keep them protected for you, and we'll keep them stored, and nobody will be able to steal them. The squirrel said, well, how do we know how many acorns that we have? How can we keep track of it? So the spider started taking leaves off this tree and said, here, take these leaves, and that's the way you measure how many acorns you've got. So after a while, obviously the spiders were selling the acorns out. They were eating them themselves. By the way, I don't know if spiders eat acorns, but at 10 o'clock at night to a 6-year-old, it worked. So they're selling off acorns, and the squirrels are starting to get hip to it. Next thing you know, the squirrels start to ask a lot of questions. Where are our acorns? These leaves are nothing. We're not getting filled on these. These are nothing. This is just leaves. You can get this out of anywhere. So then the spiders started getting defensive. And then my daughter cuts me off halfway through the story. And she says, then the squirrels call her their chipmunk friends and their monkey friends. And they surround the spiders. And they chase them out. And they take all their acorns. And I'm going, yeah, that's it, honey. The end. Yes or no? You got it. At 6 years old, as sure as I'm standing here, the next morning, she said to me, Dad, that story was about the Federal Reserve, wasn't it? And I was like, okay, good. I don't have to teach this kid a whole lot anymore. And so that was it. This was a goofy story. I told my kid to go to sleep, and this kid comes up out of nowhere and asked me to recite the story. So it was, I was definitely a little choked up, and obviously sad to see him go. So. Take a little moment of silence, and he's young, and so just take a moment of silence and just recognize, a casualty in a very big war that was lost. So, I don't know, do we bow our heads?